Very good evening. I request Professor Sachin Devre from Department of Geography, SNDT Women's University, our Pune campus, to start the event.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I welcome Professor Vasudha Kamat, ma'am, for this address. So just to introduce...
Vice-Chancellor Madam, Honorable Vice-Chancellor Madam is also there. So we welcome her.
Okay.
All
Madam Vice-Chancellor, and welcome all participants for this session. So we will begin with the introduction of Professor Vasudha Kamat, ma'am. Of course, a well-known personality everybody knows in the field of education, specifically in the field of education technology, information and communication technology in education. She has invested 5 decades of life in the field of education and has contributed to school education, higher education, teacher education, women's education, open and distance learning, lifelong learning. She is nominated by the UGC as a chairperson of governing body of the CEC, that is Consortium of Educational Communication, an inter-university center of UGC from June 2021. She was nominated by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, now the Ministry of Education, Government of India, to the National Education Policy Draft Committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Kasturi Rangan in June 2017. She was Vice-Chancellor of SNDT Women's University, Mumbai during the years 2011 to 16 and has introduced many innovative practices. She is recipient of the Best Teacher Award by Maharashtra State Government, Fulbright Senior Research Fellowship for conducting research in the Florida State University, USA during 2005-06, the Rotary International Fellowship, during which she taught at University Technology, Mara in Malaysia. She intensely advocates integration of information and communication technologies in higher education, conducts professional development programs for faculty from higher education in the use of learner-centered pedagogies and integration of ICTs, blended, flipped, and online learning in a day-to-day teaching learning evaluation process. She is invited by many international universities and organizations for academic interactions and has visited several countries like Canada, USA, China, UK, etc., to name few, and many more countries she has visited. She has conducted several research studies for various national and international organizations such as Indian Space Research Organization, UNDP, World Bank, UNICEF, MHRD, etc. She has closely worked with open universities and National Institute of Open Schooling in various capacities. She has many publications in the form of research papers, book chapters, research report, etc. at her credit. And as a social activist, she works for the Society for Rural Reconstruction and Education through Narayan Ashram, working in Konkan region in the Sindhudurga district of Maharashtra since 1992. So today, we all are lucky to hear her address, on which she is going to talk on the implementation of NEP and responsibilities of higher education in India. So I will not be there in between the listeners and the madam's orders, so address. So I just hand over it to Professor Kamat to continue the proceedings and with her address. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Professor Devri. So good to see you after a long time.
Yes, yes.
I'm very happy, very happy. Thanks. Professor Ujjwala Chakradev, Vice-Chancellor, SNDT Women's University. Organizers, Dr. Jayashree Shinde, Head, Department of Educational Technology and Director, Teaching Learning Center, SNDTU. And Dr. Amarendra Prasad Behra, Joint Director, CIT NCERT, officials of SNDT Women's University, and my friends interested in implementing NEP 2020. A very good and warm evening to all of you. I'm very happy to participate in this very special Golden Jubilee National Conference on NEP 2020 Simplified Pathways to EdTech Implementation, organized by the Department of Educational Technology, SNDT Women's University, to flag its Golden Jubilee Year celebration. This conference is organized in collaboration with Central Institute of Educational Technology, NCERT, and it is a great occasion for me as I was associated with both these organizations for a substantial time period, of course, much more with the Department of Education Technology at SNDT. When I was Joint Director CIT, we celebrated Silver Jubilee of CIT, and we happily did that. And I'm sure my friends from CIT would recall those happy instances. I congratulate Dr. Jayashree Shinde for organizing this national conference at a very appropriate time. I feel fortunate that Honorable Dr. Kasturangan sir addressed us in the inaugural session on multidisciplinary higher education as envisaged by the NEP. Learning from him during the preparation of the draft NEP was a very rich and valuable experience of my life, and I treasure it. NEP came into being on July 29, 2020, which means it is there now in existence for the last 2 years. Many states have prepared their implementation plans and have started implementing. Many recommendations were there for Ministry of Education, Government of India, organizations like UGC, AICT and other councils, and they have already moved in these directions. But there are many actions that the universities, autonomous colleges, and to some extent, affiliated colleges and standalone institutions can take on their own without waiting for the central or state government's directives, as they have that autonomy. Today, I wish to speak about those roles and responsibilities of the universities and colleges, we call them higher education institutions, in taking initiatives in implementing NEP 2020 in its true spirit. The conference aims at implementing NEP mainly from educational technology point of view. Many people, but many stakeholders of higher education wrongly equate educational technology with the new and newer technologies. But please do not forget the important term, which is education in that. Let me share with you my, please enable me to share my presentation. Dr. Jayashree Shinde.
Oh, Madam is not co-host. Please make Madam co-host.
Not yet.
Sorry, Madam. So sorry.
It's okay. No problem.
You can remove me from co-host, but make Madam co-host.
The term educational technology was defined by Association for Educational Communication and Technology. How they defined it? It is the study and ethical practice of facilitating learning and improving performance by creating, using, and managing appropriate technological processes and resources. So it is not the technology which is important, it is the learning.
Madam, you are co-host now.
Yes.
Sorry.
It is the learning which is more important. So we must look at that.
Yes, the main screen is visible. Thank you. The share screen toolbar is not visible to us, so you may not worry about that.
I just read this definition. You can see it here. The important word is learning. We have to facilitate learning, and for that, whatever technological processes you want to implement, use those. I and the education technologies would interpret it like this. Now let's move to National Education Policy. Its vision, you are all aware. Professor Vasudha Kamat made a mention that it is a small document. Yes, only 66 pages, and higher education would not even have 30 pages. We must read that with intent and concentration to understand every recommendation and what it implies for us. But the draft which we prepared, it is voluminous, 484 pages, and it gives all the explanations of all recommendations which were made in the policy. The vision of this policy is about education system which contributes to an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all, to everyone, whoever wants it. To develop a deep sense of respect towards the fundamental rights, but also duties and constitutional values bonding with one's country. Not only rights. People are aware about their rights, but they forget about their duties. This policy again and again make you aware about your duties towards your country. Instill skills, values, and dispositions for a global, truly global citizen. You know that today we have many participants who may be from India, but now across the world, and they are logging in from around the world. So it's a global city, and we are global citizens. We have to inculcate these values in our students. Professor Chakradev also mentioned about these foundations. These are 5 columns on which the whole education policy stands: is access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. Accountability not only about teachers, but about all stakeholders. Everybody who is accountable must understand the implications of NEP. The key principles which are given are emphasis on conceptual understanding, not memorization. Critical thinking and creativity, these are the 21st century skills. Fostering the unique capabilities of each student, not an average student. Equity and inclusion, outstanding research as a core requisite for outstanding education. We should not be assigning only these 2 institutions of national importance, but every higher education institution must try to do outstanding research. Continuous review and community participation, which is highlighted again and again, because otherwise we only develop white collar people who have nothing to do with the community from which they come. So this attachment to community, understanding the problems, participating in solving the problems, finding out the solution, this is what the policy talks about. Extensive use of technology. Now let us see what higher education institutions mean according to the policy. A university means a multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that offers undergraduate and graduate programs with high quality teaching, research, and community engagement. Both undergraduate and graduate programs. And autonomous degree granting colleges, which is the new term introduced. We have autonomous colleges, but now the policy talks about degree granting colleges. It refers to large multidisciplinary institutions of higher learning, which generally, mostly they will concentrate on undergraduate teaching. If you see, the policy recognizes 3 types of institutions. One is research intensive university, which has equal emphasis on teaching and research. Teaching intensive universities, they have greater emphasis on teaching, but still conduct significant outstanding research. And large number of autonomous degree granting colleges, which mostly concentrate on undergraduate programs. It doesn't talk about affiliated colleges. Please understand. The objective of higher education, as stated in the policy, is a personal accomplishment and enlightenment, constructive public engagement, community participation we just now saw, and productive contribution to the society. Because higher education meant for that. The development of the nation takes place because of the people who come out of higher education system, because they are supposed to have the values, the knowledge base, the attitudes, the skills required for building the nation. It must prepare students for more meaningful and satisfying lives and work roles and enable economic independence. Economic independence is necessary, that is the base, but that is not all. We must remember that. So we should not continuously advertise that you get a big salary package if you get a degree from this university. What other things, what knowledge bases, what skills, how that person is solving issues related to society, all these are important for the policy. If you take an overview, you see a broad-based liberal undergraduate education. Sir just now spoke about it. It has flexible curricular structure, multiple exit points, and creative combinations of study. It has a new vision and architecture for higher education with large, well-resourced, multidisciplinary institutions where professional education, vocational education, teacher education are all integral part of higher education. It talks about higher education institutions in terms of university, autonomous colleges. It talks about affiliated colleges, but it says it should be phased out. So full autonomy is with universities and these degree granting autonomous colleges later we'll have. Some autonomy is there with present autonomous colleges to form their own programs, offer them, but the degree will be given by the university. And very little autonomy to affiliated colleges because most of the things are decided by the university. But still there is autonomy for the pedagogy, for internal assessment, for student development, and many other things. But policy says affiliated college system should be phased out. What is the role of these institutions? I'm not saying governments, state governments and central government. What we can do as university or as autonomous college or as affiliated college. And we saw the definition of education technology. So I'm not going beyond that. The education technology tells you that you consider the learning most important thing, and that is why the whole program, curriculum, its pedagogy, how you assess those, and how you give support to the students. So quality learning encompasses curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, and student support. They should build character, enable learners to be ethical, rational, compassionate, and caring. These are not only adjectives, but we must strive for these. Prepare learners for gainful, fulfilling employment. Let's see how we can march towards implementing this policy. We can develop undergraduate, postgraduate programs. Where I'm saying program development, I'm talking about universities and I'm talking about autonomous colleges which have some autonomy right now. These undergraduate and postgraduate programs, they integrate different branches of knowledge. Sir just now spoke about liberal education and multidisciplinary education. Somebody asked me when this policy came into being, does this mean that I'm teaching physics? Now I have to teach Hindi also? No, you don't have to teach Hindi, you teach your physics, but understand what does Hindi literature mean? Understand what commerce and accountancy mean. So minimum required introduction to all these subjects, because your life is not only taken by physics. When you live your life, around you, all these experiences are not necessarily related only to physics. You do so many things from different disciplines. So understand that importance and try to integrate that while you plan your programs. So different branches of knowledge, language, arts, natural and social sciences, culture, sports, music, vocational education. This is one area which the policy harps on again and again. Vocational education to be introduced from school. From 6th standard, they should know about vocations around them. From 9th to 12th standard, this is a slab of secondary education, and in that they must learn at least one vocation. And when they come out and they go to higher education, again, strengthening of vocational education, understanding more about new vocations, technology-driven society, that is more important. So new technologies for life skills, vocational skills, and different modes of learning for learning face-to-face, blended, online, and many. You all know that policy talks about flexible, high-quality higher education. You see it here. The framework talks about levels, vocational framework. The same framework we in education, levels for level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We will see at every level there is exit. These organizers have already arranged a session keynote by Professor Sancheti on ABC of ABC, and he will talk about what this means. When you exit, what happens to your credits which you earn, how you can make meaning of it. But here, with a 3 years degree program, you are moving towards 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor degree program. And that bachelor degree program, if the last year, 4th year is you do it only with research, how you can directly go for PhD. You don't have to go for masters. So all these nominations are suggested. Many master degree programs, flexibility is suggested. So universities definitely can experiment, explore, find out how to design such master's program, such undergraduate programs, which give freedom to learners for entry, for exit, for learning, for understanding at least something from different disciplines. I always quote my own example. I did my BSc in chemistry and I wanted to learn sitar. I was told nothing doing, you only take chemistry and 2 subsidiary subjects. That is, I took my botany and zoology. I wanted to learn Bharatnatyam. No, you can't learn dance and music in BSc program. But I did my degree long back, many decades ago, 50 years ago. But now still we are doing the same thing. Now this policy is telling you, if a learner wants to learn about sitar, let her take those courses. If you don't offer on your campus, they can do it online, they can do it from other universities, earn those credits, come back to you. So this flexibility is offered by this policy. So while you are designing the programs, keep these things in mind. The PhD program is level 10. If you do masters after 3 years degree program, you can do masters in 2 years. If you are doing 4 years bachelor program, after 1 year you can get a master's degree and come for PhD program. It talks about curricular reforms. It's not only designing the titles of the program, 4-year or 3-year, but what to include in that. So many things, humanities, science, maths, culture, society, language, literature. Many people say those who are learning professional education, their language is very poor because they consider it is the technology. I'm doing MBBS, I'm doing BTech. Why do I bother about language? Language is very important because you communicate through language. How you speak, how you address, how you express, how you conceptualize. So language at all levels, but when you come to higher education, language is not at all important. You just study it for 15 months or whatever, 25 months, that's all. Now this policy says no, understand various aspects of your life which are reflected in these subjects. So vocational subjects, sports, as if, see, we generally teach our B.Ed and M.Ed students about 3 domains of knowledge. Which are 3? One is cognitive, other is emotive, that is your emotional development, and third is psychomotor. At school level, all these 3 are taken care. But when the person comes to higher education, we say it is not our job to talk about his or her physical development. We will only concentrate on accountancy or English literature or physics. Policy says no. Concentrate even on, give attention to physical development, psychomotor development as well in higher education, and include that in your curricular definition. It says no hard separation between arts and science, commerce, accountancy, curricular and extracurricular activities, vocational and academic streams. Nothing. Don't create walls. Silos should be taken out. Because knowledge is all one. Why should we create walls? We have been creating walls. Policy again and again talks about come out of these silos. You must have seen UGC developed this specific curriculum for undergraduate 4-year program, and they have asked for your comments. You better go to website, find out and give your comment. But what it says, common courses are there. Even if you are doing BSc or BCom or BA in psychology, you can. There are introductory courses related to natural science, humanities, social sciences. I remember I did my BSc last year in SP College, Pune, and my roommate was doing English literature, BA in English literature. So she used to come and talk to me and tell me about this novel and that novel. Then one day, because I love literature, so I used to listen to her. One day I asked her, shall I also tell you electronic configuration of atom and what is the atomic weight and all? She said, no, I will not understand that. See, this is how we have created walls. This is how we have created walls. Now policy says, do reforms. Let students understand at least first 2-3 semesters, let them understand what is happening around them. What is that? They don't know about economic flexibility, economic development of a country. You talk about $1 trillion economy. What is that? They don't know. They don't know how to reach that. They only know about what subject which they have studied. So these silos to be taken out, and that is why common subjects should be introduced at the first 3 semesters. That's what UGC is suggesting. But you also can have your own ideas and tell UGC, this is how it can be done. It talks about global citizenship education. It talks about planning internship, research internship with your own professors or outside agencies. It talks about community engagement, environmental education, value-based education. All these things must be introduced in your curriculum. And I proudly say that at SNDT Women's University, we have introduced many of these things at our master's level. Now let's come to pedagogy. What is the time? Okay. Pedagogy, as many of you know, you go to any class and you see teacher talking, like I am doing now. That is why I don't like talking. But you don't know what the listeners are doing. Now this policy says, come out of this teacher-dominated classroom situation. Make it learner-centered. The classroom should be learner-centered. In the Department of Education Technology, last 25 years, we don't lecture. We don't lecture. I called it zero lecture project. Our students work together, they present, and we do the critiquing. What is lacking, what is good, how to go ahead, how to improve it. That is our role. But main role of learning is that of students, and students do it. Students do it. They take the responsibility if you give it to them. So the policy is saying, make the learning environment engaging and supportive, provide stimulating experiences, enable all students to succeed, not only the higher IQ one. Everybody should contribute. They should feel that they are contributing and they are successful. So the pedagogy should be learner-centered. It can be customized because of the technology. Education technology will tell you how to do that. And the technologies, new technology tools which are available would definitely help you. It can be personalized. It should be experiential. It should be self-paced. If you see, most of the MOOCs are self-paced now. They will give you the starting time and end time, but they will also say you do it at your own pace. And flexibility should be the key. Can we not do this? Do we really need state government directive, central government directive to change our pedagogy, to make our classrooms learner-centered, group-centered, and come out of this teacher-centeredness? We definitely don't need any directive. Our own university, our own college, even if it is affiliated college, we have that autonomy to use learner-centered pedagogy. Policy also talks about evaluation reforms. This is a very important part of education technology. Evaluation should be based on the objectives, the outcomes which you had already stated in your program when you designed the program. We write something else there and we ask something else in our papers. Generally, our questions are who said, where, what, when, which are at all, they don't need to be asked such questions because this is information. And students can get information at the click. Why should we do that? We should reform our evaluation. It should be outcome-based. We should move away from memorization. You give information. Your paper should not be half a page. It can be 6 pages. Give them information and ask them to do something with that information. So we move away from memorization. Continuous comprehensive assessment. Comprehensive assessment. We conduct workshops for faculty members all over the country and we ask them how to prepare the, say, portfolio. Now for portfolio, you have to have your assessment given to students. They say we don't give any assessment. We just ask them to write a paper. That's all. So 30 marks internal assessment are used only for writing a paper. Why? So many things could be done by students. Product-oriented things can be done and it can be continuous. It should be formative. In the Department of Education Technology, you will see our master's program, 2 of the semesters are internally assessed. Why? We know how the students' growth takes place, how to take them ahead on the success path. This is what we should do. Not because SNDT Women's University is doing, I'm saying the policy is saying this, that it should be, we should give more importance to formative assessment because it is transformative. End of semester is only one time. And that time I may not be well. I may be having some problem at home. And those 3 hours are very critical in my life and I get pass class. I'm not a pass class student. If you had given me an opportunity for the whole semester and observed me, I would have shown you, yes, I have interest in my learning and I'm progressing. But we don't do that. So these reforms should be done by the university. These reforms can be done by the autonomous colleges. I'm not saying affiliated colleges do that because for evaluation, they depend on universities. So that is why policy says phase out. Give autonomy to teachers, give autonomy to the institutions. And in affiliated system, you can't have that much autonomy. Criterion-based grading. Policy also, I mean, we must really, I didn't spend much time, but I really wanted to say, because evaluation is very important. If you analyze your paper, 98% of questions are based on memory. We don't go beyond that. Application, analysis, give information and ask them to analyze that information. Give information and ask them to create something out of that information. But this cannot be done in 2 hours at the end of the semester. That is why we need continuous comprehensive internal evaluation. So think about that, how to reform your evaluation system. Read about the draft. Draft writes very clearly, lucidly, very descriptively about evaluation reforms. Please read that. About research and innovation, it tells you to set up startup incubation centers, a small level, may not be big 5 crore thing, but you can start incubation centers, technology development centers, centers in frontier areas of research. The universities can definitely do that. Take initiative. The state government need not tell you where to bring money, but start small. Start small and then go ahead. People will come and help you. Conduct interdisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and sir used the word trans. Please understand importance of these 3 terms and try to use them in your curricular reforms, evaluation reforms, research reforms, innovation reforms. This policy talks about innovation in everything. And not only by the teachers, it talks about innovation by the students. So set up evaluation innovation centers. to develop specific handholding mechanisms and competitions for promoting innovations among student communities. Students like to create something new. They definitely like to innovate, but we don't give them a chance. They just sit on the benches and listen to you. I won't say listen, hear you. And this goes on from grade 1 to PhD. Teacher speaks. This policy tells you to give importance to innovation, because there are several problems outside your classroom, outside your university or college. Go to society, go to community, find out that and try to solve those with your skills. So we should give those skills and help students to innovate, to create something new, to solve, address the problems of the society. Also to develop greater industry academic linkages. And for that, it suggests internship in industries so that industries come closer to you. Am I not visible? Sorry. Okay. So industry academia linkages in SNDT Women's University, when I was the Vice-Chancellor, we introduced compulsory internship for all master's programs. In the last semester, at least for 8 credits. You go to industry, you go to outside agencies, NGOs, work. Try to implement what you learned there. Try to help them, and also in this process, learn life skills. This definitely can be done by the universities on their own and colleges, certainly. It is community outreach and internationalization. Internationalization also should be done. Internationalization at home. We are not saying sending our students abroad, but bringing outside students to our own universities and colleges. Design and develop so many innovative programs based on Indian ethos so that many countries outside may be interested.
Hello, any problem? Are you muted, madam?
Huh? What is it?
No, she is very much audible. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry to disturb.
You would be happy to know when the previous minister had made an announcement that 12 countries had asked whether they can use this policy and implement it in their countries with modifications, of course. But see, people are interested to interact with us and we should take advantage of that. So student exchange program, not only with outside universities, but within the country, there are many institutions and universities and organizations where students are there. You can plan for student exchange programs. Invite their students and send your students there. Quickly, there is the technology interventions. Technology can be used for many purposes like teacher preparation, classroom processes like teaching, learning, evaluation, streamlining educational planning and management, giving access to disadvantaged people. I also suggest that many learning resources can be developed. This one good thing these organizers have done is they have organized 12 workshops, and some of the workshops would share with you how to develop learning resources of high quality. So try to develop open education resources, virtual labs, and there are e-books and journals available. There are museums, there are parks which are already available. Find those out and help. You don't have to talk about museums and history. There are museums which are now giving you access to every artifact there. To check it 360 degrees. It's possible. Do it. So teacher must know what are the resources, digital resources available, digital library, virtual science technology park, so many things are available. There was a workshop on blended learning. I was happy to see that. And Dr. Jayashree Shinde is also a member of the UGC committee, which talks about blended learning and online learning. And now UGC has already told you 40% courses can be taken online. So don't go with 40%. Create online courses which are again learner-centered, not teacher-centered. Videos, and those 4 quadrants, they are very structured MOOCs. Very structured MOOCs. Students just cannot do anything apart from seeing those videos and apart from reading that. But there are connectionism, there is a connectionism, connectivism, constructivist approach to developing MOOC. Try out, find that out and create MOOC so that they are learner-centered. Create learning communities, and all these are possible. These are possible. Many faculty members have not used learning management system, LMS. Why they haven't used? They don't know. Make them aware about it, and they would love to use learning management system because that helps you to manage learning. That helps you to manage content. So it makes your teaching learning process easy and learner-centered. So these technologies are available. Now, for example, Moodle learning management system is free, open source. Try using that and see how it helps you to manage your learning. Most important thing, I will end with that. Most important thing is training, orienting our teachers for implementing policy. It's not going to happen only by reading it and only by conducting webinars. Last 2 years, I have seen many organizations organizing webinars. I have stopped going for webinar because only by listening you don't understand. You have to do it. So conduct workshops. How to develop learning resources. What is learner-centered pedagogy? What is cooperative learning strategy? Use them online. You don't have to call them every time to Mumbai or Bikaner. Let them be wherever they are. Conduct online workshops. Instead of conducting webinars, conduct workshops and go for teacher professional development. I have very strong faith in our teachers. They're all, as Sir said, they are younger, enthusiastic to learn, enthusiastic to work with their students because the students are also younger. And these teams will really do wonders. Only thing that they should know which technologies are available, which technologies can be made available, and which technology they can make use of for assessment, for curriculum design, for learner-centered pedagogy. So if you need my help in teacher professional development, I am there for you. But if you invite me for webinars, I'm not going to come because I have a very staunch understanding that if I do something, you will say, wow, this is great, right? Dr. Kamat can do it. If you want to do it, you have to try it. I did that. How I learned? I learned from others. I tried and I made errors, but I learned and then I'm using technology. So go for teacher professional development who are eager to learn, who are eager to practice and show their professionalism. And all this, I think every teacher must be a digital teacher. I think Professor Behra will agree with me because that is his tagline. Every teacher is a digital teacher. They train teachers to be digital teachers. That doesn't mean they only have to teach online. They can do blended. Even their classroom teaching, face-to-face teaching, they can use technologies for better learning process. I will not go into the details of institutional development plan because there is not much time. But policy talks about institutional development plan. Every institution must have a plan. It is not annual report, writing afterwards. You should write before your work starts. So it can be, it says, and integrate your academic plans also. What you are going to teach, how you are going to teach, how you are going to evaluate, what programs you are going to start new. So policy talks about that. through institutional development plans to attain the highest level of accreditation over the next 15 years. It is telling affiliated colleges, it is telling autonomous colleges, so that they get more autonomy and become degree granting colleges one day. What your development plan should have, institutional development plan, you should have new innovative programs, curricular reforms, innovative pedagogies you are planning, availability of learning resources, reforms in assessment and evaluation, development of physical infrastructure, what you are going to do, integration, how you are going to integrate IT and ICT in all aspects of your university or your college, community enrichment development, student exchange programs, student support, skill development and vocational education, industry partnership, research and innovation, teacher professional development. So all these aspects should have space in your institutional development plan. Internationalization and governance, how you want to govern. Don't put all responsibilities on the head of Vice Chancellor or a principal. Everybody must contribute towards developing this. I want to suggest that when you prepare institutional development plan, it could be, your goals could be short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals. Suppose you are preparing it for 5 years. So 5-year plan, you can say what you want to do in next 1 year, next 3 years, next 5 years. So long-term plan can be 25 years or next 10 years. Today, change is a constant. So it is changing so fast. So preparing 25 years, when we were given this mandate that this policy should be there at least for 20 years. And we used to conduct meetings and people used to say 20 years. Everything changes so fast. 20 years is a long time. Yes, very fast changing society, 20 years is a long time. But you see now 2 years are already over. And where are we in terms of implementing policy? We are still orienting 15 lakh faculty members of higher education. Orienting. After that, we will start doing it. So now Vice Chancellors, principals, and the leadership should take up this challenge and prepare their institutional development plan. Prepare their plan means it is not they sit on the table and then do it. It is bottom-up approach. I think it should be a bottom-up approach. Each unit, department, center prepares its own plan, and then all these plans get integrated. IDP should also suggest challenges. You have prepared a plan, but what are the challenges in implementing that and how you want to overcome those challenges? That also must be stated. And then integrate all academic plans ranging from curricular improvement to quality of classroom transactions into the larger IDP. That is what the policy says. Keep this in mind. So once your IDP is ready, your development plan is ready, then it would be easier for you to move forward. It may take time. So give that time, because that time investment is ready. You should have, it is inevitable. So that once you plan, accept, everybody must be on it. Everybody must accept that. And then you start working on it. Implementation will be very fast. I thank you all for listening patiently. But I would again suggest that if you need my help, not giving you address, but working with you, let me know and I am there for you. Thank you, Dr. Jayashree Shinde and Dr. Bera, for inviting me to this August gathering and share my views with you. Thank you so much.
Very well explained, madam. One thing I did not mention at that time was that we have been entrusted with the responsibility of making what you talked about, like having a cluster. What would be the frame guideline for the cluster university or a unitary university? So your unitary institutions, like which have completed 50 years, are also being, how do we gradually give them the autonomy and then finally the status of a university. All these are the areas which have been given to us for consideration and implementation policy, not only policy, implementation strategy and rules and regulations in Maharashtra. So that is a very, very important and prestigious assignment which has been entrusted on us, and we are working on it. And guidance of Madam, your guidance, Madam, will also be needed at that particular juncture. So once the framework is ready, we will come and talk to you about it also. Share the document with you.
Thank you. But the policy says that autonomy has to be earned, not just because you are there for 50 years, 100 years, 200 years. What you have achieved in terms of student learning, in terms of enriching student life, that is more important. And that is why you will say this accreditation is also going to be binary. It's not grades, B grade, C grade, A grade, A++ grade. So it is talking about binary assessment and accreditation. So that either yes or no, once it is accredited, you go ahead. But to earn a status of degree granting autonomous college, you have to earn it by your continuous efforts, not just because you are there for 50 years.
Very true. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, may I ask any participant if you want to speak something?
Dr. Kamat, I was very interested in hearing your opinions. What are different roles that teachers can take? What differentiated careers can teachers now take with this new education policy? Given that this teaching has become so specialized and so wide, the depth and breadth of teaching has become much more with the new theories of learning, new pedagogies, new technologies, a new scope of what teachers are expected to do in this new way of doing things with problem solving, entrepreneurship, with, all these different new things that we're talking about. How are we thinking of specializing teachers in various areas?
Dr. Mr. Bakshi, you are into it right from the beginning. And career paths, not only of higher education teacher, but even school teachers are discussed in the draft as well as in the policy. Because once a teacher, always a teacher, that is what our idea is fixed. It is not so. Now, henceforth, one person will be changing at least 6 different jobs. And 6 jobs does not mean 6 companies and same job. Different jobs. And that is why you must make your learner so ready that what is happening around him. But this is about learner. Who is going to teach that learner? The teachers. Now, what about these teachers? Once a teacher, always a teacher. Is that so? In my time, it was so. Once a teacher, then you retire. Maybe you retire as a principal of a school. That's all. Now, the policy suggests that there are many areas where not only going to hire administrative role, without having any administrative training, people become principals, vice principals, supervisors in the school. Now, educational technologies, any teacher can become educational technologist provided he or she wants to. Rasurangan sir mentioned about AI. AI will, if we learn AI, machine language, then there are many roles available to a teacher in his position as a teacher, but enhancing the personality, helping the learners in different areas. Can a teacher have a startup? Nobody will say, no, don't do that. You only teach. Why? Why? Think about it. This is a very appropriate question which Mr. Bakshi has raised. In your IDP, you think about it. how we want to develop our own teachers. 16 years, then they become board of studies member. That is okay. But still they are in the system and they do the same thing. Can they do different things? Because they have that possibility. They have those potentials. They go on increasing, enhancing their knowledge base, their skills over a period of time, but it is not recognized in our system, ecosystem of higher education. Can they, now for example, when open learning system came, open universities came, what they did? They asked the face-to-face teachers to come there. Did they have any training? They go there and they again teach. What question Mr. Bakshi is raising, how we develop our own teacher community. We have 15 lakh teachers. Think about it. The human resource. We have 4 crore students, that is one thing. We are training them. But we also have 15 lakh higher education teachers who also need some kind of mentoring, hand-holding, and taking them ahead, asking them what they want to do. Nobody asks them. Assistant professor, associate professor, professor, head of the department, maybe vice-chancellor, and then retire. There are n number of roles around. If you just see the policy, now, Mr. Bakshi, let us work together and find out, list them out and share with these people. These 28 roles are already written in the policy, which could be taken up by the teacher. Thank you for raising this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this enriching address in the responsibilities of HEIs when we talk about the NEP. So on behalf of Department of Education Technology and the host team, I thank you all for joining this session and enriching the participants. So I thank all participants for having interactive participation in the workshop. And at the same time, I thank the host team, Honorable Madam Vice-Chancellor, Professor Ujjwala Chakradev, and all team members. And with this, may I conclude this session. So thank you all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Honorable VC madam. Thank you, Kamat madam. Thank you, Mr. Bakshi. Being with us is a pleasure. Thank you very much. And tomorrow, see you all at 10:15. We are starting our session of Professor Sancheti, who is writer, I can say, maker of ABC document along with Dr. Tyagarajan. So we are actually getting opportunity to hear from the horse's mouth, as we say. So be here with us tomorrow morning at 10. Thank you very much. And the link is different. So the link is, I think, shared in all WhatsApp groups and is on the website also. We are continuously updating our website, and on the website you can you will not get Zoom link, but you are getting YouTube videos on the website for future reference. Thank you, Dr. Mandar and other friends. Thank you, Dr. Sharma.